Hey yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in on this episode. It's me, Moi, in my T-34-3. It's a Tier 8 Chinese premium medium tank. I'm on middle tier on a 357 on Live Oak, spawned into the northeast spawn, headed down the south onto the tracks. We're going to call this one Any Port in a Storm. Any Port in a Storm. We're going to talk about using terrain and things in the terrain while you're playing this game to avoid being hit or killed. We're also going to talk a little bit about live oaks as we head down the tracks. I don't understand how people have not figured out that the way you win this map is on the tracks. The meta is pretty solid. You can see that I've only got 4 tanks coming with me, so we're in trouble right off the bat. And as I'm watching this whole thing develop, I'm thinking, well, there's a couple things you can do badly on the tracks. The first thing you can do badly is not bring enough people, which we have done. The second thing we can do poorly is not be aggressive. If you bring enough people and you're not aggressive, then you're allowing your city to get waxed more than likely and not pushing the advantage. If you bring too few and you're not aggressive, then you're just going to get picked apart by the enemy team. Because sitting back either on our side or their side and allowing one team to get the ravine in between is pretty much a death sentence. Rarely do you win. If you bring a bunch of tanks and they bring a few and they try to push into you, yes, that can work. But being aggressive with a few tanks, you can often catch out a couple of their initial aggressive tanks trying to jump into that little ravine right there, and that's exactly what I'm going to do as I see this thing develop. I'm thinking we don't really have a good chance over here if they bring any kind of numbers. Our only chance, if they bring any numbers, is to jump on them quickly and take down a couple of them before they know what's going on. That's essentially taking the initiative. You can see that we've got 4 of our TDs all on the TD hill right there, which is just absolutely ridiculous. So I'm just going to come up and over. No respect. And Type 59 is there. So I take a shot and bounce, and I head over here. This is dangerous because I can be shot from my right. But any port in a storm, I'm going to go ahead and use this column right here. I do get hit by the Su-100M1, so I'm going to cover up. And I'm going to keep on maneuvering. And I'm going to try to entice my team to get all over this Type 59. I take some really bad shots right here. He's able to put front armor to me before I can really aim. I try to get low, then I go high, and then I just shoot into a turret, and down he goes. So terrible effort on my part. I block a couple shots, but I have 0 damage. However, I entice my entire 4 tanks to come up and over and take down the first aggressive tank we found. Good news is their Centurion somehow got out in the open and looks like he was waxed by the TDs, and the other side is doing well because they have more tanks. What we're going to find out over here is they just don't have anybody. So I'm going to take a chance, come up and over any port in the storm. I know this little flat area is here, and I'm going to go ahead and put my flat little tank with the great turret right in this little spot, even though I know there's artillery. I come around the corner, and I'm going to miss. So that the accuracy of this tank is not very great. The CD thing goes rushing in there, but he does soak up a couple shots. That allows us to get in there and take a few ourselves. I got a T-43 up above me, and I'm just waiting for the artillery to hit me. But he probably is fairly busy in that fight up in the northwest because that's the first fight that started, and there's quite a few tanks up there to shoot. So more than likely, right at this moment, he's up there shooting them. So we'll take advantage of that. I've gone to heat. Don't really need it against the Tiger, but I've been bouncing some shots here, so I want to go ahead and get that higher pin, especially for that flat plate front armor, even though I think I may have even hit the side on that one. It's hard to tell. And we'll move forward. The KR is doing some good work. He stayed up a little higher, ended up eating quite a few shots. We've got him out in the open. Down goes the low. And we've done this and we lost 1 tank so far, although a couple of them are pretty beat up. Come around here. I make some poor decisions. Trying to bait him. I should have just come around the corner. I'm thinking I can just take him down right there, but if I would have pushed around the corner more and got a better shot, I might have been able to kill that Tiger off. I was also a little bit worried about the T-43 getting a free shot here, so being a bit careful. Any port in a storm, using that ground right there, and the KR gets around on him. The 43 has fired, so I'm going to push in. Got a 100 M1 over there. I see him backing up, so I actually go through the water here. Keep on pushing instead of using that train trestle column right there. And then unfortunately, he comes up and over. Nobody really punishes him for it. And he's able to get another snap on me. Drives up and over, shoots and hits me. This was a bit of a worry. I was thinking, well, I'm about to get hit by the 704, but I believe he was actually looking the other way. That's fortunate. That could have ended my game right there. Coming up and over now, I'm worried about the artillery. He has to be paying attention to us by now. Any port in a storm, I'm going to use this ridge. Taking a look at what we got. 43 seems to be looking elsewhere. He backs off. The shot into this. No, that's going to only track the 100 M1. Finally get a good snapshot out of this whole thing, but it only does a crit. And I'm goofing around now on the tracks here, trying to figure out now how am I going to get forward. I don't want to just drive up and forward, get proxy lit, and then I have no real maneuverability options. The reason being for that is if I wanted to come sneaking around a building and take a shot at, say, something like this, without it knowing I'm there, if I'm close and proxy lit, that one goes way too high. Much like the T-43 is now proxy lit, then guys way over there like the 704 will have a shot. They otherwise would not have had a shot, except that the 100 M1 was lighting him because of his closeness, his proximity. So now I'm going to say, all right, let's see if we can get this 100 M1. Is RNG finally going to favor me? I take a little bit of a chance here, and all right, did get him. I did get him, but I also took another hit from the T-43 and his inexhaustible supply of APCR. This is not a sure thing right here. We came through there pretty quickly. Could have gone a little better, especially endgame. The enemy team did a nice job of pulling back when they got overmatched. They probably had enough tanks to beat us if they'd have played it well. But they did a nice job of pulling back, and now we're trying to figure out how to push into a bunch of turtled up tanks, which have some artillery. E-25 YOLOs in for some unknown reason. Gets waxed. The 704 survives the whole thing. Coming up here to see if I can take him down. And I go to HE thinking this is going to happen. Unfortunately, I forget that I've gone to HE. And we'll come up here. We've got a 122.44. Looks like he's making a run for the ravine right there, which is a smart move on his part. He's kind of out in the open. But it's not lit, and I'm really hoping the KV-3 will push in and give us some lights. If he'd have moved over to the west side and used the ridge there at about D1 or 2, he could have moved up covered. You might be worried the Su-122.44 is still hiding in the bushes over there, though. So he's hanging out in the edge of the town, trying not to get killed. We got the Uds moving up, and I'll just come around here. So any port in a storm using the terrain to move forward. So masking my approach with the terrain. Another lucky snapshot, and unfortunately, dopey me, I'm firing HE, and that got me a whole 120. Which I didn't notice at the time, so as clearly as you can see, I'm still firing HE. There was a thought in my mind, I think I noticed it right about here, and I went, okay, that's fine, I'll just use that against the artillery. I know he's in there. And at least I don't have to worry about bouncing off armor, which is a nub kind of thing, but there you go. Any port in a storm, a couple buildings right here, and they're getting hit. Boom. The artillery knocks down that entire building, and I'm just trying to back up. I take a couple lucky bounces off these guys. I'm stunned. Driven right up into these guys. I'm thinking, well, this is it. This T-43's got me. No way I'm going to go ahead and kill him. And boom, I'm able to put him down with a 313. Oh my gosh. Now all I can do now is back up against this thing. Any port in a storm. Holy cow, I put myself in a bit of a pickle. Unfortunately, I'm out of my HE, so I'm only able to drop a 392 on this guy, leave him 58 hit points. He's still sitting there reloading. I'm going to come out here and just say, you know what, he's going to splash me either way, so I might as well come here, get my fully loaded shot. And he missed. Not only did he miss, actually he didn't quite miss, he hit the building, but the 122.44 died to the Uds right before he was about to shoot me. So that move up into there, hiding behind little pieces and particles of buildings, allowed me to get their attention, and the other tanks were able to move in and start taking those guys out. Not a fantastic game, 2,446, quite a lot of it right at the end, a garbage time, although it was still in the balance a little bit towards the end right there, but it really shows a pretty good example of a continuous forward push with using the terrain the whole way. Everywhere I went, I knew what was on the map. I knew the places I wanted to go. I was able to isolate and minimize my exposure to where I knew the enemy guns were. I didn't simply just drive up over the top of things and go raging forward at them out in the open. I used every little piece, nook and cranny, and piece of map knowledge that I had And that's really something you need to do. And that kind of turned what was going to be either a loss or a very mediocre game potentially into a pretty decent game at 2,446 with 1,250 blocked, 688 assisted or spotted. And if you want to move on to that next level, you're sitting there at 50%, or you're trying to get your 1.8 from that 1,000 to 1,200, and maybe start to approach that 2,000 kind of regime. Those are the kind of things you need to start doing in every game. And it can be kind of taxing. If you want to just sit down and have a couple brews and go raging at each other, then you can do that. That's fine. I do that as well sometimes. But if you're trying to get to that next higher level, those are the kinds of things, other than just being able to aim well and shoot and all that, that you need to start doing in your game. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate your support as always. Keep supporting the channel, and we will see you.